Hello, this is Alan Wheeler again, and I'm taking a few minutes to make a video before heading out to visit family today. And I'm wondering if I'm sharing a few things because I'm wondering if during Yule, which began yesterday on December 22nd, if the veil is thin as it is during some other times of the year. Um, because I've been having some uh, pretty vivid trance journey experiences. I'm going to share a couple and some, uh, I believe it's pronounced Ogham symbols, the Irish rune-like symbols called Ogham or Ogham. And I've ordered a set and I've just started learning. I took a little course online, but I'm not very familiar with them. But three came to mind that seem to relate to 2020, so maybe the title of this video will be something like uh, Three Ogham Symbols and Two Journeys Announced the Year 2020, or something like that. So the kind of the visions are a little complex, so let me try. I wrote down everything, and so let me try to relate the first one. It's actually my second kind of experience um, with this kind of channeling or journeying. And the first was with Hecate, and I made a video describing that, seeing Aphrodite on a beach, going into a cave and encountering Hecate. In this one, it was very similar in having to step out in faith. It started just a mist, and I just kind of had to launch out, step out into it, and just accept the forms and images as they came. Um, but quite unused to the experience. So just taking stumbling steps in a sense. Uh, the mist seemed like mystery, kind of like the steps of faith themselves. But slowly I began to see woods, trees in the midst, uh, and tires, but they seemed to be formed of the trees, and a whole truck, like an 18-wheeler truck, made up of trees and moving um, simultaneously, or it was almost like two superimposed possibilities, or it was that the woods were moving like a truck. And this is very personal symbolism for me because I have um, often imagined um, pure blank white trucks and pure blank white billboards to represent basic generic religion. And so, for example, a billboard for McDonald's and a truck with the McDonald's golden arches on it could represent one organized religion, but a completely white one or blank one would represent a more generic or universal spirituality for me. So that I instantly clicked or understood the truck, not the trees, at first. Uh, as this went on, as I imagined how the trucks I'd imagined before could have the emblems for Odin or Isis or the Tetragrammaton for Yahweh, and other alternatives on them, suddenly as I realized that this truck was composed of nature herself, the word pantheism came to my mind. there in the woods. My vision zoomed in next, and I saw a circle of people sitting around a fire. Each was dressed in different, uh, almost tribal costumes or cultural garb, each very different. So there was a great diversity or variety sitting around this fire, and I sensed or I knew that this fire was the one energy um, that they were all partaking in for warmth and strength, and they were just concerned with very practical things right there in the woods. And I realized I was seeing a picture of earth-based religion, and that was basically um, all. And so I'll of course continue to sit with that, but um, that was my second journey. Now here, these are the um, either that morning or very soon thereafter. These were the um, Ogham symbols that came to my mind. Again, I don't have a set yet or anything, but I've been studying them. And the images came to my mind before. I mean, I had to go look up the meanings that I'm going to tell you right now. But the symbols themselves came to my mind like 3 tarot cards. Um, so I'll explain these to you, but I feel they're a message for the year 2020 for myself and perhaps others as well. So the first one, and I may be mispronouncing these, probably not in the accurate Irish, but the name of this is Duir, perhaps, and it stands for the oak tree. And the same sound or word is the root of, or it means door, and it's the root of the word druid, the priests of nature. So the meaning, where I looked it up, was stable, rooted, strong. That it can also represent divine opportunities and open doors. So that sense of stability, strength of an oak tree, that nature, religion I just related, of the Druids, and open doors. The next is Muin, if I'm pronouncing it even closely uh, to the correct Irish, and it stands for vine, and the meaning is prophecy or flowing words, and we think of the grapes which make the wine, the fruit of the vine, which also makes words flow freely. Um, so this kind of expressing either of self or prophetic utterance um, flows. And we're warned to be wary of illusions that can come when we're intoxicated and speaking a lot, um, and or intoxication of spirit. And the third one is fern, I believe, and it stands for the alder tree. It's associated with Bran from the myths, and Bran, I'm told, made a bridge of himself, like a bridge over troubled water. He laid himself down and made a bridge of himself over the water. According to the legend I read, his um, head was also an oracle, and this symbol can mean mediation, bringing together, bringing heaven to earth. And this wood is stronger and better in water when it's moist, and is a little brittle when drying up, so maybe it needs that flowing wine of the Spirit. So I will let you interpret and receive those as they may fit with your year 2020. And let me tell the third journey for me, but the second one in this video. And in this kind of trance state, I pictured walls crumbling around me. And I started running, and again, in the beginning it was like stepping into the images by faith, just allowing them to, not shutting them down, and running with the images. But I also began running with a winged creature or angel. Fire was blazing, everything was collapsing around me, and I was flying with the angel, feeling a kind of deliverance from that catastrophe. It was almost like I saw another picture of the same scene. Instead of flying with the angel, I was flying on a unicorn, and the image was similar to this one. I don't know if this is very clear in this light, but it's a unicorn flying in the moonlight. It's the Seven of Cups from the Archeon Tarot, I should say. Sorry for my pronunciation there. And I realized that I'm imagining different forms of the same event or the same energy. Next, I felt I was held in the claws, flying again, but this time held in the claws of a dragon-like creature. And I wonder, does this mean that this escape can mean I'm gripped by kind of a reverse antagonism of what was happening? And so these were different forms of the escape, perhaps possible, or ways of looking at getting out of that. What I saw now was the crumbling tower, familiar from many versions of the Tower card. Next, I was flying over mountains, and very expanded vision from outside of that crumbling tower. And I hit a force field flying on that winged horse. And so I had a sense this was a vision in a vision, or imagination of possibilities within the vision. I was seeing into the forest many things. There was dancing in a circle, like tribal dancing. There was fetching of water, gathering of food, celebrating of holidays as a wheel of the year. There was a lot of activity among communities in the forest. And I was imagining, what would it take, or what would it be like to get involved in the different activities. The thought also came to mind, how to keep the tower from falling. Is that necessary for it to crumble to the ground. And again, in the imagination, the idea came that the tribes would have to come in to the tower, kind of like a reverse Tower of Babel, where the um, languages were frustrated and the tribes went out to all the earth, kind of a reversal of that. Um, and what would it take um, for this kind of gathering? Building bridges, making paths, leading tours from both sides. And so this did remind me of perhaps there will be open doors with the strength and confidence to go through them and to express freely words of mediation. And the forest itself might tie into the first vision that I had of the earth-based religion. Well, these are some things I'll be sitting with. Um, I'm off until the end of Yule, which I believe is January 2nd. So thank you for watching. And as always, I hope you feel connection in your real life relationships and online communities, as well as on your spiritual path, whatever that may be. Take care.